What's up, peers, and welcome to Bitcoin to the Max here on the World Crypto Network. Today we talk about one key aspect of Bitcoin, and that is financial self-sovereignty. That means that you own your money, and only you. And with owning and controlling a money, I don't just mean that you hold a physical paper bill, but that you control how this money function, and that you can verify it and thus enforcing it. This is what Bitcoin really brings to the table. It gives you ultimate control, you as a peer on the network. And there are probably a lot of amazing implications in this realization that Bitcoin fundamentally on the node level works that the individual node sets its own consensus rules. That's the first step. You download the software and you compile it from source. You set the rules. The second step is that you go out and you listen on the network of who else is playing by your rules that you have set initially. And if there are peers around you, perfect. You can intermingle and hook up. Then on a third level, though, when you see that someone is breaking your rules, you enforce your own rules and you kick him off the network. Aggressors are not welcome here. We play by consensus rules that we all agree upon. And if you do not agree upon our rules, well, good, but leave us alone. This is on a node level, on a macro level, how Bitcoin gives you financial sovereignty. But just as important as the sovereignty over the money rules, over the consensus rules, is true control by the individual of the base monetary unit, which in Bitcoin is done with keys, with cryptographic keys and all mathematical functions, basically. And there are different types of keys in Bitcoin. There is the private key, which is a password that gives you the access rights to Bitcoin on the blockchain, on the public ledger. And corresponding to this password, a secret, you generate through a mathematical function of a elliptical curve digital signature algorithm, ECDSA. You generate a corresponding public address, a public address that cannot link back to your private secret key. But every time you have the secret key, you can derive the public address. And in that manner, you have your public address, which everyone knows and everyone can send money to. But when you have some funds locked in this public address, then you can only use this money and transfer it to someone else's address by signing with the private and secret key that you have kept for yourself and that only you have access to. This means that nobody can stop you from spending these Bitcoin as long as you play by consensus rules, which are first and foremost, can you provide a valid signature that proves that you have access to the private key corresponding to this public address with some Bitcoin on it. And when you can prove this cryptographically, mathematically, by speaking the truth, then you can use these Bitcoin for your own convenience and send them to another address that you can specify. And again, this address is controlled or corresponding by another secret private key, which another individual or maybe yourself controls. And nobody can stop you from using this mathematics, from adding 1 + 1, from speaking these words. This is censorship resistance. There is no one that can take away your financial sovereignty, both on a network level when you're running a Bitcoin full node, and also on an individual monetary unit level when you use asymmetric cryptography. This is why Bitcoin has so much fundamental monetary value, because it is a fundamentally free and libre money base. Thank you, my peers, for joining me here on the World Crypto Network for Bitcoin to the Max, a show that is brought to you by, well, you, my peers, for being sponsors of the WCN. Thank you for your support on patreon.com/WCN and on teleco.in, where you can hand over some of your financial sovereignty and sign with your private secret key the corresponding transaction that relinquishes the Bitcoin from your address and hands it over to, well, ours. And this is how you can give some gratitude to these videos that we provide, and in exchange you receive early access to these videos as soon as they are produced. Thank you very much for joining me today, and see you on the next show. Bye-bye.